Okay, I'd like to preface this by saying I haven't done any reviews on YouTube for tools or anything. This one's going to be on the Central Pneumatic 1/4" air hydraulic riveter. There were no reviews or videos on how to set this up or what kind of product it was. So I went ahead and just got one and gotten a little bit of use out of it, and it seems to work fine. So what is it? It is the Central Pneumatic 1/4" air hydraulic riveter. It's item number 61482 at Harbor Freight, and it is a beast. What did it come with? It came with the pin cap, and it came with a couple tools, a couple wrenches, some extra jaws. Came with 4 different nose pieces for different size rivets. Those are a 1/4", 3/16, 5/32, and 1/8 inch. I did have some issues with the setup. The tools you get, well, let's just do it this way. In the setup, you remove the base cover or something like that, 52, and then you remove the air cylinder cap, which is part number 46. And this, the air cylinder cap, you can see it, has little receptacles for the new nose pieces. The problem with that is it's a really nice little deal, but a wrench won't fit in there. And to be quite honest, as tight as this thing was on there, you're not getting it off with this little wrench anyway. I tried it with a couple of different wrenches. I ground the sides down on a socket and just couldn't get in there and get this thing to loosen up for me. What I ended up doing is using a 9/16 bolt locking washer, or a double stack of, not washers, double stack of nuts on it, and stuffing that in there, and then using a smaller socket to get it to break free. Pretty much what I did to get it out of there, and it worked. So once you get the air cylinder cap off, then you have the piston head and stem inside. I had no problems pulling that out. When I got this, removed the piston head and stem, there was some like silicone grease or something in there and a little bit of oil, so I wiped that out. The directions were not real specific on how much oil and what type of oil to use. I had some hydraulic jack oil that I put in here, and it seems to be working just fine. The directions for setup seem, or say, to fill it to the top of the housing, which, let's go here, flip this upside down. The housing, meaning this, inside it actually protrudes a little bit into the inside so that the nut can grab onto it. So I filled that up with the hydraulic oil. It didn't take much, so I'm glad I didn't go buy any. I don't know how small of a container of hydraulic fluid you could get, but it used hardly any of the half quart that I had laying around from doing my floor jack. Once I got the oil in there, there's 2 O-rings at the top of the housing, so you want to kind of be careful with those, or I would imagine you want to be careful with those when you're reinstalling the piston stem. Pushing that against the oil and getting it to go down into the body enough that you can thread the cap on is kind of a pain in the butt. So I would suggest putting the oil in, and then you might have to take a little bit out to relieve some of the pressure to get that piston head down in there. Push it down in, twist the cap back on. I put a little bit of inline oil or pneumatic tool oil in there a couple times when I was running it, and it seemed to work just great. I'll try and put a review on Harbor Freight. I'm happy with the tool. I will say though that removing the base was a huge pain, and now one of my little receptacles here is bent or smashed, so it won't hold my nose piece. No big deal. Throw them in a plastic Ziploc bag, put them in the toolbox. But yeah, it's cheap, it's big and heavy, but it's definitely a lot easier than doing the plier style. Yeah, well, that's about it. Hopefully it helps you guys, and yeah, for the money, I'm pretty impressed with it. Alright, thanks.